He's back then if it all goes very well. And I know they're 2-0. Who would you rather be? How hard would you rather be 2-0 Cincinnati, but without Joe Burrow for the next 3 months, or 0-2 Kansas City that you think you're going to have Patrick Mahomes for the next 3 months? Who would you rather be?
I felt like that was going to be the scenario. I will go with Kansas City in that one any day of the week.
Kansas City, that they will be fine. I would bet a lot of money Jaren Jackson did not injure his toe on AstroTurf.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But, yes, Joe Burrow, he did. And, I think they're in real trouble. I think, you talk about maybe losers of the weekend. Jacksonville's got to be up there in the NFL for how they lost that game and to not have Joe Burrow in there, and it felt like, okay, well, here you go, Jacksonville, you're going to be able to win this game, and couldn't get it done, and so now, Jacksonville in some trouble, and I do think the Bengals, even though they won yesterday, I think in real trouble without Joe Burrow.
But one of the week winners of the weekend, our Cowboys.
That's right. Well, barely, Brett. I was ready to do the entire show today. I'd already decided that if the Cowboys lost that game yesterday, I was going to do the entire show with a paper bag over my head that said "Depressed Cowboys fan" on it because it was ugly. But I guess at the end of the day, a win is a win. That's at least what I'm trying to tell myself. Russell
Wilson was good, and Jackson Dart got in for a play, a rush that went nowhere.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's that makes him start any faster. Not with that performance Russell Wilson had.
Certainly not. No, it was a career performance from Russell Wilson, which is crazy to say. But he was phenomenal, and it makes it easy when you've got a guy like Malik Neighbors that you can just throw it up to, and he'll come down with it. It also helps when the Cowboys secondary looks terrible. So a lot worked right. But yeah, you mentioned it. You had Jackson Dart who got in there on a couple of plays. It looks like they have this read package just for him, where they run him out there and he gets the read option look, and I think. I remember seeing him out there 3 times. It might have been more. Handed it off twice, did run it once, and had -3 yards rushing. But at least getting him out there and him taking real snaps every once in a while, I don't think is a bad idea. But yeah, who would have thought in 2025 we'd be talking about Russell Wilson with 450 passing yards in a game? It's nuts.
Yeah, he had a day. Why were you so scared of the Tigers against Troy?
I think, well, we talked about it last week. I think it was a lot of the kind of, not even just on the field, because I said it. There were a lot of people going into that game that I think talked a lot about the Clemson game. The Clemson performance didn't worry me at all. I think it was a lot of, you have Arkansas next week. You have an 11 a.m. start on the road. I think those things are worrisome for anybody. You've got a running back for Troy that has a bunch of yards after contact, and the week before Memphis did not tackle well at all. And so there were some concerns for me about some of those things. But I think a lot of them were more outside of the playing field, just kind of daytime, where it's at on the schedule, that really worried me for that Tiger game.
I doubt very seriously that there ever will be. But if there's ever a movie about Goose Crowder, wouldn't it be? And portraying Goose Crowder is Goose Crowder.
I think so. Yeah, I think he would have to play himself, and I don't think Goose Crowder ever wants to see the Memphis Tigers ever again. 2 games, 2 injuries for him against the Tigers, so I'm sure he would like to not see them again.
I had the Tigers on our picks on Friday. I went 4-1. You went 4-1. Landon goes 2-3.
Whoa!
I had
Time out. 4-1. What loss did I have?
You had correct. You're 5-0.
Let's go. I thought so. All right. That's why we do this. Hey, we're very transparent. That's why we do this.
Well, that knocked me down to 3-2.
Okay. All right. I love it.
And take Landon up to 3-2.
Oh, how about that? Round of applause for Landon.
I did it.
No, I'm sorry. Drop Landon to 1-4.
Oh man, Landon.
That's okay.
You didn't do it. No, that's too bad.
I had the Tigers winning 35-14 by 21.
Mm-hmm.
They won 28-7.
Yeah, I mean,
that's 20-21.
Absolutely. Yeah. No.
I had Ole Miss winning by 7.
Mm-hmm.
They won by 6. Whoa, what a terrible guy I am.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Just missed it by 1 point, Brett. Be better next time.
My college football lock, Oklahoma laying 21.5 in my score prediction, 42-3.
Wow.
They won 42-3.
Holy cow. That's incredible. Wow. All right.
And you got there with Vandy on your college football shot. Vandy straight up, and they got there straight up. Easy.
Sure did. Yeah, it was easy. And they have looked really, really good through 3 games and looked really, really good in their first conference matchup against South Carolina. Just a commanding 31-7 win over South Carolina. We're going to talk a lot of Vandy today. Kevin Ingram from the Vanderbilt Radio Network, he's going to join us in our third hour at 5 o'clock to talk all things Commodores. 3-0 start for the Commodores to start the season. They're rolling to start the season.
3-0 start and favorable next 2 week scheduling, then very, very, very difficult, but a good start for Vanderbilt. Lenore Sellers got hurt. I don't think it made that. I think they were going to win anyway, but that made it really easy. And now South Carolina really facing what could be a tougher season. I didn't think it would be that many points scored in Arkansas and Ole Miss. I had 34-27, so that's 61. It ends up, what was the final? Final score was 41-35.
That's exactly what it was, yeah.
So 76 points scored. And, yes, I will tell you, down on the field, that last drive, if Ole Miss doesn't get the turnover, Arkansas scores. I don't know what happens after that. I don't know if they get in field goal position. Wouldn't have been a lot of time left, but there was no way keeping Arkansas out of the end zone unless you got a turnover, had to have it, and T.J. Daugherty dislodged the ball, and Ole Miss got a first down, and then took knees and got in victory formation.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, it was we talked about it all week last week where it was, this is going to be, it's historically the last however many years has been a close game. Last year, kind of the outlier. We felt like this was going to be a close game, a back-and-forth game, and it certainly was. Like you mentioned, I mean, Arkansas has the opportunity to, we're inside the 30 when that fumble happened, approaching the red zone and looking to score, and then that fumble. But, I mean, the first half, I thought, nobody was ever going to have a possession where they didn't score. I mean, it was a crazy first half, 59 combined points in the first half. And then, out of half, both defenses kind of settled down a little bit and were able to come up with some stops. But that was a fun game Saturday night.
Brian, it wasn't the first half. It was the second quarter.
Yeah,
it was 7-7 after the first quarter. 0 punts either side in the first half, 31-28. Both sides adjusted. Ole Miss won the first half, 31-28, and won and then they were able to win the second half. 10-7?
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, it was a really fun game, and now for the losing team, for Arkansas, they get to come up here to face Memphis this weekend, a game that I know a lot of people are excited about. I saw a tweet from the athletic department earlier today saying there's less than 5,000 tickets remaining for that game on Saturday, so it looks like already a lot of people buying tickets and getting ready for the 11 a.m. kick on ABC.
Yeah, that should be, and that should be predominantly blue. They've known forever when that game was. They've known forever what the stakes are in that game, and we touched on it last week, and I will continue with it this week. This in our area this next playing weekend. This is really the American SEC Challenge weekend,
exactly right.
Both SEC teams could lose. I am scared to death of John Summerall's Tulane team because I know how good a coach he is. And I think they have better material than anybody Ole Miss has played so far. Sure. And I know he's a better coach than any coach Ole Miss has faced so far.
Yeah, no, John Summerall has done a phenomenal job already with that Tulane team, and they've looked really good. They got the big win against Duke over the weekend, and I mean, I think Jake Retzlaff, obviously, the situation that happened to get him to Tulane was very fortunate for Tulane for him to join so late. But he's been awesome at the quarterback position. That's going to be a fun game over the weekend.
Brian, I don't think it's overwhelming, but it's close enough that you can think about the 3 Tulane wins may be better cumulatively than the 3 Ole Miss wins.
I think you could definitely make the argument about that.
It's not a big gap between them.
No. But I think you could certainly make the argument. I mean, what Tulane has done, two power four opponents in Northwestern and Duke. Now, nobody is. I don't think anybody's running from Northwestern. But Duke is a team that there was a lot of expectations for before the season started. Then you got a road game against South Alabama. So it hadn't been an easy stretch for Tulane to start the season, and now they'll get the big test at Ole Miss.
And for those two SEC teams, they cannot be looking ahead to next week. Next week for Notre Dame, for Arkansas. Next week LSU for Ole Miss. And if Ole Miss takes care of business against Tulane, there's a real shot at game day. It's going to be a 2:30 game. The night game is going to be Georgia-Alabama at 6:30. But there's a real chance for game day for Ole Miss if they are undefeated and they have defeated Tulane.
Definitely. But you're right. It's kind of a good spot for both Memphis and Tulane, with kind of that opportunity for those SEC teams to be looking ahead with really big games the following week. So it's going to be fun, a fun build up all week long as we look ahead to both those games in the area. A little American SEC challenge for the area. So we got a busy show though today, so let me set it up before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Jonah Dillon, the Tiger football beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us. We'll talk a lot about the Tigers, what they did over the weekend with their win over Troy, and then this weekend's game against Arkansas. We'll definitely start looking ahead to that game, get his thoughts on that matchup. 3:45, we'll take a look at what happened over the weekend in the American, a little American Conference recap to end this hour. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports. He'll join us. He covers college football and college basketball over at CBS Sports. We'll definitely get his thoughts on all the games from the weekend in college football. 4:30, we'll get to our Sissy's Log Cabin look back at the weekend in the SEC. A lot of games to get to from the weekend and some really fun games. We mentioned the Ole Miss and Arkansas game. Georgia-Tennessee was a thriller. Texas A&M and Notre Dame was a really fun game. So plenty of really fun, good games that we got to talk about in our SEC look back at the weekend in the SEC at 4:30. 4:45, we get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Kevin Ingram from the Vanderbilt Radio Network. He'll join us. We'll talk the Commodores. Their 3-0 start. They've looked really, really good, and now 1-0 in conference play with that win over South Carolina. 5:30, we'll get to our Monday Night Football pick and preview. We'll also do our top 4 combined for these now 4 teams. It was hard last week when we just had 2 teams that you had to do a combined list for. Now 4 teams that we have to combine them. Now, you can do it any way you want. If you want 4 from one team, that's fine. 1 from every team, that's okay. However it comes together, a combined list. That's because we have a doubleheader tonight. With the first game, Bucks and Texans on ABC at 6 o'clock. The second game, Chargers and Raiders on ESPN at 9 o'clock. So we got a lot to preview at 5:30 during our Monday Night Football pick and preview segment. And then at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Moe's Crunch Time. Well, let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together. Get over to Family Leisure for their world's biggest spa sale. Spas starting at $29.99 and spas and swim spas now up to 30% off. The floor model special, it's going on as well. And don't forget about those cold plunges now starting at $49.99. Head out there and purchase select patio furniture set and receive a free umbrella with that purchase. Swimming pools, the clearance pricing, it's going on through the end of October, and buy now and save with that price increase. Don't forget about the special financing. It's available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sportstime, and we're with you until 6 o'clock. We want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin talk and text line. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Produced by Landon Schmidt. He's Bryant. I'm Brett. We're live. We're local. We're always in our Family Leisure studios. And this hour always brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and always special leasing options. You can call them at 901-334-9673, but they invite you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway, and that's where you can put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. Driving luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it's the Tigers and their win over Troy Saturday morning, an 11 a.m. kick against the Troy Trojans, and it was a 28-7 win for the Memphis Tigers. That now makes them 3-0 on the season and sets up a very exciting matchup this weekend, 11 a.m. on ABC against Arkansas. It was a game where Brendan Lewis looked pretty good. 213 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown. He had 41 yards with his legs on 13 carries. As a team, Tigers ran for 217 yards, 3 touchdowns. Sutton Smith, he led the way on the ground with 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. For Troy, Goose Crowder, who everyone was talking about with his performance, especially his early performance against Clemson, he got injured early in that matchup, only had 3 passing attempts before he got injured, and after that, Troy really could not move the ball at all. They became, I was about to say they became kind of one-dimensional, but I don't even know if it was even that. They could not get anything going offensively. Only 72 passing yards, only 40 rushing yards. Defense really knowing that they would want to try to get it to Tay Meadows, but a lot of it was their quarterback kind of running out of time and trying to find something, not finding anything. Their backup quarterback, 10 carries for negative 17 yards. A lot of those obviously behind the line of scrimmage. So defensively, Tigers look really, really good. An up-and-down game for the Tigers, but ultimately you get the big win over Troy. You stay undefeated, 3-0, and now the big matchup against Arkansas. And again, 11 a.m., and now we know it will be on ABC.
My top story from the weekend was Saturday. Really, the story of the day in college football was almost entirely SEC centered. Yeah, Georgia Tech was good stuff in their last-second field goal win over Clemson, but the SEC was on full display with Bama splattering Wisconsin for the second straight year. Overtime on Rocky Top. Heck, just the second quarter in Oxford. LSU surviving against Florida. That was all on ABC, ESPN, and that's why they paid huge rights fees to get the SEC. Over on NBC, it was A&M coming back and beating Notre Dame late. It was the action that ABC, ESPN, and Disney, it's what they paid for, and it's what they got on Saturday. And you look at the schedule, not as much for this Saturday, but for next week, it is action from 11 to 11. That's what they paid for.
That's exactly right.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it was the weekend in the SEC. Some really fun storylines going into the weekend and some really fun games and really fun results. You had all the action, Georgia and Tennessee, how fun of a game that was. Tennessee gets up big in the first quarter, and then after that, Georgia kind of takes control. Tennessee has the opportunity to win it with a last-second field goal. They miss it. We go to overtime, and Georgia ultimately wins that game. We've talked already about Arkansas, Ole Miss. We'll talk more about that, but back and forth in the first half, and that one came down towards the end when Ole Miss came up with the only turnover of the game, and it was huge with Arkansas driving with the opportunity to get more points on the board and regain that lead if they were able to knock down the PAT. Ole Miss comes up with the turnover and wins that game. But you had other games like Texas A&M and their win over Notre Dame. Now Notre Dame 0-2 to start the season. They're in real trouble. You had Alabama with their big win over Wisconsin. Auburn keeps winning. A really fun weekend around the SEC. LSU with their 20-10 win over Florida, and got a little testy after the game with Brian Kelly and not wanting to answer questions from reporters and saying they were bad questions. But hey, all good, 3-0. I mean, let's keep everything lighthearted in the post-game presser. But I thought a really fun weekend around the SEC.
And that's Brian Kelly after a win.
After a win,
like
Brett.
That.
Yeah, his team 3-0 and after a win. Yeah.
I don't know who the reporter was, but there's a Baton Rouge reporter that's an AP voter, Cokie Riley, who even with Notre Dame's 0-2 start, you know where he voted Notre Dame in his AP top 25?
I don't know. Where?
Number 10.
Oh, all right. Still in the top 10. Okay.
Top 10.
All right.
0-2.
I love it.
My not top story, Tigers 3-0 versus Arkansas 2-1. It's the beginning of Memphis versus Arkansas week for us and for everybody around town, and it should be fun. Arkansas was so close to it being a battle of 2 3-0 teams. The Tigers dominated Troy I don't know why you were scared. I was never scared at all, and especially after the quarterback was knocked out. Very few people can go to a backup quarterback, and it was part of the mastery, the game plan, and getting Trinidad Chambliss ready by Lane Kiffin and his staff. But also in that Tiger-Troy game, hands down, the catch of the year by Brady Cluse, one-hand grab, foot in. It was good. I heard it was number 10 on ESPN's top 10. What the heck was his first name?
It's a great question. I have no idea, but I'd be shocked to see any better plays than that one because that one was ridiculous.
I love sometimes on that top 10 they'll have like that number 10 and then a play from Major League Baseball. And then from highlight last night they'll have, some garbage like that in there. But that was a great catch. Here's the thing for Memphis. We're getting ready to talk about it with Jonah Dillon. I think everybody knows. I don't want to be too over the top. I'm not going to say ever because I don't think it's the case. But I do think in the Ryan Silverfield era, they have to play their best game of the Ryan Silverfield era to win Saturday against the Razorbacks.
Yeah, I agree with that. And on Brady Cluse, I remember, and we'll have to ask Jonah because I don't remember exactly what game it was, but he had a one-handed grab last year that became one of the catches of the year for the Tigers. Everyone was talking about it.
Catch.
Yeah, and I don't remember what team that was against, but now Brady Cluse, in his second year with the program, has 10 receptions, 2 of them that people are calling the catch of the year for the Tigers. So something about those one-handed grabs, he is all over it. But
I mean, these gloves are good, but the glove has nothing to do with the foot.
No. That was insane. I mean, it was back corner of the end zone. I mean, it was a really, really tough grab, and he made it and was definitely in. It was unbelievable. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we return, we're going to talk more Tigers. We'll recap the game against Troy. We'll start previewing this matchup against Arkansas. We'll do all of that with Jonah Dillon.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time, free gun rentals with purchase of ammo, and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Witten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RADIO to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
I'm thinking back to school.
You mean the Rodney Dangerfield movie?
No, I'm trying to think of a theme for this month's Central Barbecue ad, and since it's September, I'm thinking back to school.
Well, it seems like you're kind of forcing it. What does going back to school have to do with Central Barbecue?
Well, get your school year started right by having Memphis' best barbecue.
I'm not hearing it.
Come on, it's a brand new year. Why not celebrate by getting the tastiest ribs in town at Central Barbecue?
It just sounds like a Central Barbecue ad, but with school shoehorned in.
Every student should enjoy some slow-smoked deliciousness.
Well, now that just sounds stupid.
You try writing a new Central Barbecue ad every month.
Just say Central Barbecue is good.
For school.
If you're looking for a cool new ride, run, don't walk to Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. Get your 2025 Taos S. We Gossett $236 a month. How about 2025 Jetta Sport? We Gossett $239 a month. Plus a Gossett Volkswagen Covington Pike 2025 Atlas Cross Sport SE $279 a month. And every 2025 Atlas Peak Edition and SEL Atlas $5,000 off MSRP. That's all 2025 Atlas Peak Editions and SEL Atlas $5,000 $1,000 off MSRP. So run, don't walk to Gossett Volkswagen 1875 Covington Pike or online GossettVWMemphis.com, where we're charging forward and charging less every day. If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Volkswagen. All 36 monthly, 7,500 miles, 25 cents excess mileage. Taos S SMO 56598, MSRP 27011. Jetta SMO 851,138, MSRP 25916. Cross SE 230,120, MSRP 39206. Peak Editions SEL Atlas 3,500, manufacturer rebate 1,500. Gossett discount includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Volkswagen Credit. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 9/30/25.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar-based. It's now available in a 32-ounce jar. It's so good to baste or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef, and she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet or a steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meats. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper was more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with a perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at the Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it.
A beloved family affair and still going strong since 1948, the Rendezvous.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. No shortage of radar out here, that's for sure. We did have a stalled vehicle earlier. TDOT was moving it on Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. That's eastbound Bill Morris at Kirby. Certainly trying to pick up out towards the Collierville area here in the last few minutes. Working your way south of Memphis. So far, so good. Down 55 down into South Haven. Reimer's Jewelry, your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. Stop by and see them this week at Reimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and we got to talk some Tiger football. Jonah Dillon, the Tiger beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal, he joins us now. Jonah, thanks so much for joining us. Another win for the Tigers. This one, another road win for the Tigers over Troy. A 28-7 win for the Tigers. What stood out to you about this win?
Yeah, I mean, the game was pretty much over after Troy's quarterback, Goose Crowder, got injured on, I think, their third offensive snap. They had nothing offensively after that, and really it was kind of clear at that moment that the game was not going to be competitive. I think the way that Memphis has offensively continued to run the ball has been a really positive sign. Obviously, we knew that the running game would be kind of the number one thing with this offense, but it's worked so far, and they've done what they needed to do. Even with Greg DeWozier out, Sutton Smith has proven what a lot of people expected, was that he can be a number one running back. He's played really well. And then the other guys have played well too, Makari Bodiford behind him. So I think that's going to be the key. The running game is obviously going to be the key throughout the whole season, but there's a lot of positive signs there through 3 weeks.
Jonah, do you think the defensive game plan, do you think it changed after the injury? Was it going to be that blitz heavy going into it? I loved it after. I'm sorry he was hurt, but look, to a young backup second-string quarterback, I'm sorry, Tora.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, Ryan Silverfield, he said as much after the game, that once Goose Crowder went out, they said, look, we're going to blitz this guy. And it was you don't want to go in too hard on someone, but it was not a good offensive display by Troy. Like I said, the game was clearly over after Goose Crowder's injury. Not that he's, a Heisman Trophy candidate, but he's a competent quarterback. It's really unfortunate that he actually got injured against Memphis last year too, and then ended up missing most of the season. Suffers that injury. Memphis' defense was all over him after that. It was, legitimately tough to watch at times, not seeing an offensive performance like that in a while. Incredible game. I tweeted about this after the game and actually wrote about it. Troy's punter, 530 yards. great for him. Shows you that the offense was not exactly clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, no, great numbers for him, but I don't know if you want those numbers as a team with your to have your punter out there that much. Jonah, you had a tweet earlier today about the snap counts for the Tigers receivers through 3 games, and we talked about the passing game against Troy, 213 yards from Brendan Lewis, kind of mixed it around a lot like he's done through 3 games. Cortez Braham with 4 receptions leading the way, but you had it down. Brady Cluse leading the way with 101, but all the way down, and again, obviously did not play game 1. C.J. Smith with 33 snaps. So you take 1 game away. Do you think that will continue to improve? I know a lot of people are kind of talking about him now. 2 games back from this injury, hasn't been really involved in the offense. Do you think that is more of a reflection of just coming off an injury, or is it reflective of, maybe he's not going to be the sole piece of this receiving core that we kind of thought going into the season he would be?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I don't think he's going to be the top receiver maybe like we thought at one point back in the spring. I think Cortez Braham looks like he's continuing to take steps towards being Memphis' top receiver. And Jamari Hawkins, to his credit, I think we've seen Jamari Hawkins make plays the first couple of weeks and thought, okay, well, let's see what happens later in the season. He's also staking his claim to one of those spots. Definitely. And then obviously we saw Brady Cluse with that highlight reel touchdown on Saturday. I think with C.J. Smith, I would expect to see him a little bit more. I don't think he really hasn't factored in at all. I'd like to see him, let's see what happens if you just throw him a wide receiver screen or something to get him the ball. Haven't seen that at all, but he is playing, and so he's part of the team. He's been out there, which means you would expect that he'll eventually be in a situation where he's going to get targeted, going to get the ball, and we'll see what happens at that point.
I didn't see much to be concerned about. Style of play, strategy, injury. Is there anything that alarmed you coming out of that before this big matchup against Arkansas? I say free shot against Arkansas, Jonah.
Yeah, I think there's defensively, I think there's a lot of questions to be had about Memphis right now. And I know people are going to say they shut out Troy, right? The only touchdown that Troy scored was on the defensive scoop and score. Memphis has been the one thing that Memphis has really struggled with so far this season is tackling. If you look at Pro Football Focus, Memphis is the 3rd worst tackling team in the country. Now that was really bad against Georgia State. It was a little bit better in the other games. Tackling like you tackle against Georgia State against Arkansas is not going to work, right? Even if you are tackling everybody right away, the level of athlete that Arkansas has versus what we've seen so far is drastically different. And so I think it's going to be a tough style matchup. Styles make fights. I think it's going to be a tough style matchup for Memphis with what we saw from Arkansas. Obviously, you saw that against Ole Miss. I do think it's a free shot in the sense that Memphis does not have to win this game. Memphis has to win. If you want to go to the playoffs, you got to win your conference. And realistically, you're comparing your resume at that point. If you win the conference, you're comparing your resume with the other group of 5 teams. So it doesn't matter what South Florida is doing. It doesn't matter what Tulane is doing if you win the conference. It is interesting, though, because Arkansas, this is a really important game for Arkansas. It's not a free shot at all. Not only, obviously, do they not want to lose to a group of 5 team, but if you look at their schedule, you're trying to find 6 wins. This is really going to have to be one of them because their schedule is incredibly unforgiving. And obviously, coming off the loss last week, this is basically a must-win game for them.
Preseason, I had Arkansas winning against the Tigers and winning next week against Notre Dame. And, Jonah, that was to get to 6-6.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, you look at this game for them, and it's weird because you would think, this is Memphis' big opportunity. They got to be up for this. I think it's a bigger game for Arkansas. It just looks like it is right now. Obviously, it'll be an interesting environment, but that team really needs to win this game, especially with what they did last week. They obviously showed that they're capable. They played well last week, and like a lot of people would think, if they didn't turn the ball over on that last drive, they would have won the game. So I think they're up there, but they've got to be able to put together another performance like that, especially on offense.
Jonah, I said a little bit earlier to start the show, and you tell me if you agree or disagree. I said not ever, not in Tiger football history, but in the Ryan Silverfield years, Memphis will have to play their best game to win in the Ryan Silverfield years. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Probably. I think that Arkansas is one of those teams, right? I don't think they're a great team, right? They're going to be fun to watch because of the offense. You saw it last week against Ole Miss. That was a really exciting game. I think that it is, like I said before, I just think it's a tough style matchup for Memphis because, yes, Arkansas's defense, you can put up points on them, but I don't know that this Memphis team is really equipped to win shootout style games like that. And then defensively, I think the issues that you've seen from Memphis so far this season against Arkansas are going to be exacerbated. So I think they're going to struggle to stop Arkansas consistently. And you end up in a situation where, okay, if the game is a shootout, it's hard to pick Memphis to win that type of a game. And so the way that Memphis can win this game is by creating chaos on defense and probably causing turnovers. I don't think that they're going to just shut down Arkansas's offense. I think they have to create turnovers. And then offensively, we need to see probably consistently success in the passing game down the field from Brendan Lewis. That's not to say that that can't happen, but we haven't seen it yet. And so it's hard to bet on that happening. But like you said, they have to do all those things to be able to win this game, and those are things we haven't seen so far this season.
Talk about that Arkansas offense. Memphis against Georgia State really struggled against the dual threat of T.J. Finley and kind of what he brought to the table with his arm and his legs. Taylen Green is that times 5. I mean, he is really good with both his arm and his legs. How does this Tiger defense, especially when you talk about those missed tackles and some of the things we've seen from this defense, how do they slow him down?
Yeah, definitely trying to create turnovers. Now, I think there's a question with Taylen Green. He was limping at the end of that game, so is he at 100%? But I think, you've got to do your absolute best to make him a pocket passer. And I know that's cliche for any dual threat type quarterback, but his running ability is beyond even what you think of when you see a dual threat quarterback, right? He's just dynamic as a runner. Look, obviously, you've seen it before. Taylen Green played here in the Liberty Bowl last year, and he played against Memphis a couple years ago at Boise State. It's just crazy going back to that game. Ashton Genty scoring 4 touchdowns, special teams touchdown for Memphis, and they ultimately win the game. I think, you've got to make Taylen Green a passer. That has to be the goal. Easier said than done. But if they can do that and they can force some turnovers, then there's a chance.
Boy, when he shakes loose from the first guy, though, Jonah, look out. He's downhill, and he's covering 10 yards with those strides. It's like watching Matt Jones when he played at Arkansas.
Yeah, look, I think it's a huge task for Memphis, and like I said, there's teams that are going to beat Arkansas this year. There are teams that are equipped, and Ole Miss, to be honest, is one of them. I mean, they beat them with a backup quarterback. I know, obviously, a great performance, but I think that there are teams that are equipped to beat a team like Arkansas that is dynamic offensively but can't stop anyone and has some pretty clear flaws. I don't know that this Memphis team is the one that's equipped to do that, so you're going to have to kind of play against type to beat them, which is just really hard to do, especially when you're trying to establish your identity, and you have established your identity as this run-first team. You're not going to beat Arkansas playing that way, so you're going to have to play against type, and I just think it's going to be it's a really tall task against a team that has dynamic playmakers, not only a quarterback, but their receivers and their running game too.
I don't think Arkansas has an Ashton Genty, but I think they've got pretty capable running backs when they just wanted to go to the running game, and their offensive line is much improved. It really whipped what I thought was a good Ole Miss front.
Yeah, and the physicality is going to be a huge question, too, anytime you have a group of 5 team playing against a power conference team, right? But Memphis is playing an SEC team, so it's going to be one of those things where you get to the game and you look at Arkansas's linemen and how they stack up with Memphis linemen, and you're like, okay, this is an SEC team, right? That's usually what happens when you see those types of games. And so the physicality up front is going to be a huge, huge question mark. Memphis has shown they can compete with those types of teams, so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. But, stopping the run, absolutely critical for Memphis.
Jonah, last thing for you, going back to the Troy game. In the second half, Tigers offensively in the first half put up 21 points, only scored once in the second half, and you kind of look at some of those possessions in the second half. Outside of that possession where they were able to score the touchdown, I believe if my math is right, only 57 yards of offense before then. What did you see in that second half offensively from the Tigers?
Yeah, look, I don't think that the game was ever in question, and so I think part of it was like, we're winning the game, let's run some clock, and they didn't have to move the ball or do anything. But again, it kind of goes back to what I said before of like, you're going to have to, it's going to happen against Arkansas unless, some crazy thing happens on the other side of the ball. And certainly we would expect it to happen later in the season, against the South Florida team and maybe against Tulane or Navy where they're going to put up points and you're going to have to meet them throughout the game and you're probably going to have to score quickly. And based on what we've seen from Memphis, including in the second half on Saturday, we haven't seen them do that. And so, yes, it would have been nice to see them make a couple of those plays down the field, move the ball more consistently. Troy's defense is fine. They're certainly not as bad as their offense and are capable, and you saw what they did at Clemson. Although Clemson's offense is another question, but I guess we don't have time for that. But, yeah, I think it was, there's reasons to be concerned if you're looking for them. There's also reasons to be excited about the positives that this Memphis offense has shown so far, especially the way that they're able to grind out games against teams that aren't very good. I think that will make them successful, especially with some of these American Conference games.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be a fun one this weekend against Arkansas. Jonah, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next week.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jonah.
Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal with us every Monday talking all things Tigers. That's where he's on the beat for the CA, covering the Memphis Tigers. And Bryant, the Tigers have a chance Saturday.
Oh, absolutely.
They just have to play a really sound game.
No, I'm with you. I mean, it's got to be, if not the best game under Ryan Sofield, it's got to be one of them. When you talk about kind of best performances, it's got to be in that top three because we've seen it, and you saw it against Ole Miss, and you know, if you've watched Arkansas in their other games this season, this offense is dynamic, and so they are definitely going to rely on that offense. I think defense has a couple questions, but you know they're going to want to get a couple stops, so you're definitely going to have to be on your A game if you're the Tigers.
Big-time matchup Saturday at 11 o'clock at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, and a big-time announce team screaming Joe Tess in town to do play-by-play. The Bachelor, Jesse Palmer, and Katie George on the sideline. So got a great announce team on ABC.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited. I know a lot of people were hoping it would be the ABC game, and so now it's coming to fruition.
It sure is. We're ready for football, and we're ready for fall road trips, and where you can start is All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. Check out all the new Tahoes and Suburbans, the Equinox, the Traverse, all the Silverados that are right there at All-Star. First exit when you cross on Highway 78 into Mississippi, take Kraft Goodman Road, and you're there. Financing as low as 0 or 3.9 and no payments for 90 days. 1.9 and no payments for 90 days on a new 26 Equinox. Your good credit deserves it, and you get it at All-Star. You know Drew DePriest and his team are ready to cheer on the Tigers coming up on Saturday at the game against Arkansas. All-Star with all the best of the pre-owns, whatever you want, they've got it. And certified Chevys, a ton of Silverados, Tahoes, Equinox, and that great-looking Corvette Stingray. If you have any car, truck you want to sell, All-Star is the place to do it. Whether you bought it there or not, bring your title and get a big check back for it first thing in the morning. Let's go to All-Star Chevrolet together. Let's drive. For more information, you can always go to All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch, or AllStarAutoGroup.com. They're at All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch. Everything you want to drive is right there at All-Star.
Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, we've talked a lot about the Tigers. Let's talk about the rest of the American Conference. We'll do a little American Conference recap. That's next on Sports Time.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Don't miss the 53rd Annual Pink Palace Crafts Fair at Audubon Park, September 26th through the 28th. Bring the whole family and enjoy 3 days of food, live music, and of course, shopping for one-of-a-kind arts and crafts from across the Mid-South. It's a Memphis tradition you don't want to miss. The Pink Palace Crafts Fair, September 26th through the 28th at Audubon Park. Sponsored by First Horizon Foundation, Friends of the Pink Palace, and your friends at Sports 56. Here's what sets NST Law apart. They don't just work in Memphis, they ride for Memphis. From school fundraisers to courtroom battles, they show up where it matters. And when someone in this city gets hurt, NST goes toe-to-toe with insurance giants. No fear, no favors. It's not just the law to them, it's loyalty. And if you ever need backup after a crash, NST's got your back. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or check out nstlaw.com. Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Hey everybody out there, Walker Taylor with Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Football season is upon us. Nothing better for your next tailgate party than a barbecue buffet spread provided by the Germantown or Collierville Commissary. Catering, self-serve or full, is a specialty of ours. No party too small, no party too large. You can check out our pricing and the items we feature at commissarybbq.com. Holidays will be upon us soon. At our Collierville location, we have a party room for 30 up to 100, perfect for family, business, or church functions. We also have a patio at the Collierville location, perfect in the fall for enjoying football and eating barbecue. Monday through Friday at the Collierville location, we also offer an all-you-can-eat buffet featuring barbecue pulled pork, ribs, fried chicken, and catfish. Each location also offers a $10.95 lunch special, a sandwich, a side, and a drink. Please come visit us at the original in Germantown by the railroad tracks or our new location in Collierville at Houston Levy and Poplar. And as always, go Tigers go.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we got a couple minutes left in this hour. We got to talk about what happened over the weekend in the American Conference, not the AAC anymore, just the American. And, well, there were some big-time opponents on the schedule for other teams. You had Duke at Tulane. Tulane ends up winning that game. You had Oklahoma at Temple. Oklahoma dominated in that game. And then you had the big one that everyone was talking about going into the weekend. South Florida, 2-0, beating two ranked teams against 2-0 Miami. And it did not go South Florida's way. Miami, 49-12 win over the Bulls.
That was South Florida's free shot. Like Jonas said about the Tigers, at the end of the year, if South Florida runs the table and the American wins the American championship game, that's not going to matter. That probably will be enough to support them being that representative.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, already beating those two ranked teams, their resume still, even with the loss against Miami, better than a lot of resumes out there. And so, yeah, I mean, it was just kind of. It was hard to think that they would do it 3 times in a row, especially in another road game at Miami. But, there's definitely a lot of excitement, and just ultimately that offense wasn't there. Miami looked really, really good on both sides of the ball in that game. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, South Florida still has everything in front of them for their shot at going to the playoffs.
And they have one remaining non-conference game. It's this week against South Carolina State. They'll win that, so they have to take care of business in conference. In our preseason picks on just W's and L's in the American, we are all three 31-8.
All right. Okay. Didn't see that coming.
I didn't either. And it's 31-8 for the most yards rushing in the American. Wow. You win the game.
Yeah.
And it is 23-16 passing in a league that I think most would associate with being pass happy, pass first.
So. Yeah, I would absolutely say so.
So even in a passing league, you got to run the ball.
That's true. Yeah.
I missed on the rushing statistic though in Oxford Saturday. Arkansas ran it 2-1 over Ole Miss.
Sure did. Yeah. No.
The one turnover in a game that you needed one defensive play made. Ole Miss made it, but for the American Conference, I don't think that mars what South Florida had already accomplished. You can't take away that win for them at the Swamp.
No, definitely not. I mean, those 2 wins to start the season were huge, and is the reason that there were so many eyes on this game and so much talk about South Florida. So no, I don't think it takes anything away. Obviously, the score of that, people will talk about 49-12. Really getting blown out on the road. But no, I think, again, everything is still in front of South Florida. You mentioned it, one more non-conference game, and then they get into the conference slate. A couple road games in there that will be tough for them. At Memphis, at Navy this year will be tough for them. But yeah, everything's still completely in front of them, and still, even after that loss, got to be the leaders in the clubhouse right now to get that group of 5 spot.
And you have Navy out there still in pretty good image-wise,
Sure.
3-0.
Yeah, and a 3-0, and already with their first conference game of the season with the win, or I guess 2 conference games. They're 2-0 in conference. Last week against UAB, this week against Tulsa, so they're getting a couple conference games out of the way early. But, obviously a lot of excitement about Blake Horvath coming back to be their quarterback, and he's continuing to have a really good game. 159 yards rushing for Blake Horvath in that win over Tulsa. So, yeah, I mean, they're definitely in that conversation, and, they've got, some obviously a couple more non-conference games like at Notre Dame still left on the schedule, but, they definitely are in a good spot right now.
Brian, the crowd coming up this Saturday for the Tiger game, we know there's going to be a lot of Razorback fans. But anytime they play in Memphis in anything, through friends and proximity, they're very industrious. They're great fans. We know that. But for Tiger fans, you got to buy these tickets for these home games. A 3-0 team playing an SEC team, and the rest of the year at home, you still have South Florida, which talk prominently about being that playoff representative, Tulane, and Navy.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of this ticket package looks pretty good the rest of the year for Tiger fans.
No, it absolutely does. And I think there's certainly a lot of excitement about this one on Saturday. I mean, I don't think you have to do too much to get people excited about an SEC opponent coming to your house. But I mentioned it earlier. The athletic department putting out on social media earlier today. Only about 5,000 tickets left on the Monday going into the game. So it feels like it's going to be a really good crowd. It feels like it's going to be a lot of Tigers. But you're right. We talked about going into the season about how good the schedule is for the Tigers in conference play, just on the field. You get all these teams at home, but certainly for the fans to, be able to go out there and see Arkansas at home, to see South Florida, to have Tulane, Navy, those are big games for the Tigers, and they definitely need the fans out there supporting them, backing them, trying to will them to victory in those games.
I think it could be a really good game if Memphis plays very sound. One of the big numbers I'm going to be keying on as the week goes on, and it's almost impossible to factor in, but going to have to create 3 turnovers that leads to 21 points.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, no need to recover a fumble and then 3 and out.
No. You got to get some points off turnovers, and I think Jonah said it. We talked about it with the Ole Miss Arkansas game. Turnovers are going to be huge in this game, and like you said, it needs to be more than just one turnover, and then you kind of have a 4 or 5 play drive, and then you end up punting it. You got to be able to capitalize on those turnovers, and we'll see what this defense can do, because very clearly this Arkansas offense, no matter what you have to say about Arkansas as a team, Arkansas's defense, the Arkansas offense has been fantastic to start the season. It feels like they're going to be really good again against Memphis.
It's year 2 with Bobby Petrino with any quarterback, and Taylor Green had a lot there for him to work with and showed flashes last year, took a lot of hits. But, Brian, you know me well through the years, who I've come from after games in Oxford that I've come back slack-jawed over. I knew I saw something special. I go back to Cam. I go back to Tim Tebow. I go to Cam. I go to Johnny Manziel. I go to Bryce Young. I go to Joe Burrow. I go to Jaden Daniels. I put that Saturday night from Taylor Green in that league. I do.
It was really good. It was really good. I mean, when you account for over 400 yards of total offense for your team, I mean, that's a really good day in the office. And I mean, he's been special this year for Arkansas. He's really good last year as well.
If it had been flag football, I don't know if one time the flag would have been stripped off of his waist. It was hard to catch up with him.
It's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, he's got a good frame, good size, and so you really gotta you can't be just whiffing on tackles. You can't just kind of have that Olay arm tackle. You got to go in there because he can break tackles and get extra yards, and so that's definitely got to be an emphasis as well for the Tigers to that tackling. Like Jonah mentioned, Tigers have not been great tackling so far this season, and that's gonna be big against Taylor Green.
Free shot for Memphis, but also for the Razorbacks. Win this one, and then that atmosphere for Notre Dame, and that can be the knockout punch for Notre Dame this year.
Oh, man, no kidding.
Anybody voting them in anything, if they're 1-3, can't be considered serious.
No, definitely not. And yeah, that's going to be a big one, and Notre Dame certainly is. They're going to need all the wins they can get. Purdue this week, I think we feel pretty good that Notre Dame will beat Purdue, but on the road to Arkansas, that's a huge opportunity for the Razorbacks. So we'll see what happens. But this week, it's all about Memphis and Arkansas. We'll continue talking about it all week long. But right now, we have to wrap up this first hour and get to a break. When we return, we're going to stick with college football. David Kopp from CBS Sports, where he covers college football and college basketball. He's going to join us next. We're going to talk all about the weekend in college football. Don't go anywhere. David Kopp, he comes your way next.
Marshall Steakhouse is a feast for the eyes as well as the body. Enjoy all American USDA prime steaks, aged 30 days or more, and other delicious meats and sides. Marshall Steakhouse in Holly Springs, named the #1 steakhouse in Mississippi by the Food Network, and named in the top 2 most legendary steakhouses in the South by Southern Living Magazine. Make reservations today and get free bread pudding by calling 662-252-2424 or online at marshallsteakhouse.com. Marshall Steakhouse in Holly Springs, a Southern treat.
Listen up, Rebel fans. Your next winning drive starts at Landers Ford in Collierville. Their game plan is simple. Find you the most savings possible. Make a trade, lower your payments, or let them buy your vehicle even if you don't buy from them. That's how you keep moving the chains. Just like the Grove on game day. Fans all across the Mid-South keep coming back to the #1 Ford dealership in Greater Memphis. See them today in Collierville or online at LandersFordMemphis.com. When you own a Landers Ford, you get the support of a certified service tech with the Landers Ford Remote Service Experience Program. They pick it up, drop it off, or fix it on the spot, so you're never left watching from the sidelines. To finish the drive, the iconic Landers Easy Pass always brings more for your trade and the biggest discounts to put you in victory formation. And now, straight from the 1977 Ole Miss football team that took down #1 ranked Notre Dame, the final snap of the day from Landers Ford President Don Kitchens.
If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much. As reported on Ford's 2024 Total New Vehicle Retail Sales Report in Memphis Market.
Getting engaged